Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome, everyone, to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to bring topics and guests that will empower you to become that confident leader and take your business and your life to the next level. Today, my guest is Anmol Singh, and let me tell you about Anmol. Anmol has made his name as a high-paid consultant in the trading and investing industry. In 2015, he launched LiveTraders. Anmol has coached and trained over 1,000 traders and investors, some of whom have gone on to run their own hedge funds. Anmol is considered a leading expert in trading psychology. He's helped thousands of traders worldwide deal with psychological and behavioral issues that arise when high stakes are on the line. He published Prepping for Success, 10 Keys for Making It in Life, which has received great reviews on Amazon. This book is about success and productivity and not about trading. Anmol is involved with various other entrepreneurial ventures and franchise stores. He is also an angel investor funding startup companies in addition to maintaining a real estate portfolio. Currently, Anmol remains an avid stock market trader. He spends his day working with his LiveTraders students. Today, we're going to talk about the number one key to success in any area of your life. Please join me in welcoming my guest, Anmol Singh. Well, Anmol, you've had a varied pattern of your success here, touching a little bit in all the different areas where you can make a couple bucks. Investing, real estate, trading, angel, my goodness. So I'm very excited to hear what you can share about the number one key to success in any area of our lives. But before we get into that, I always like for you to share a little bit about yourself. So tell us, where are you living now? Where do you call home? And then share a little bit about your journey that led you to doing what you do today.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to chatting with you. So born and raised in India, now I live in New York City. I came in here because it was one of my childhood dreams. You know, you grow up, you see the city lights, you see the skyscrapers. So I always used to have like a vision board in front of my computer where I had like skyscrapers and everything that I wanted in life. So New York that's the only reason I moved here. When people ask me, there's no reason for me to live here, but it was just a dream. I wanted to make it happen. And now I call this home. And, you know, started off pretty early, you know, just like a shy kid, introverted kid, playing his Xbox. And, you know, that's all I've really done is just substituted my Xbox for a computer that I now trade on and I work on. But nothing else has changed in that dimension. But, you know, really love trading. And as you mentioned, kind of dabbled in all different areas of my life now, from real estate to trading.
Yeah.
But it all started with trading. That was kind of the first thing I ever started in my dorm room in college. And started doing really well with that. So then I started saving up money, and then I met mentors along the way. They were like, "Hey, Anmol, you're a really good trader, but what if something happens? You know, what if you can't trade anymore? You should probably tuck some money aside and maybe buy some real estate. You should start doing all these things so that you're provided and taken care of." And that's how I got into the different things that I do today.
That was good advice. Very good advice. So I guess, what was the catalyst that or event that led you to identify this number one key to success?
I think a
What is
lot of
it?
that, yeah, I'll definitely tell you about it. I think one of the things that I discovered early on is that, you know, everybody can learn the strategies to do anything that they want,
Yeah.
right? But getting them to do it is a completely different story. right? So I
Yeah.
could give anybody the best strategy in the world for trading and investing, but if they can't physically do it, it's meaningless. And same with, so that the number one success key is actually integrity, being a person of
Mm.
your word, being a man or a woman of integrity, somebody who follows through on everything that they said they're going to do. And then not only doing it, but then doing it when you said you were going to do it. Because if you don't have integrity, if you don't follow through on your own word, then just like most people, they'll say, oh, I want to start a business someday. I want to do this one day, or I really hope for this. I wish for this, but hope is not a strategy. And one of the
Mm.
things that I learned is like, we can believe in law of attraction, but if you're just going to sit there and, believe in it, it's not going to happen until you actually do it. And you're not going to be able to do it if you're not a person of integrity. And we learned that in 2020, where everybody used to say, I would love to start my own business. I just don't have time, right? Everybody
Mm.
said that before 2020. And in 2020, everybody was given a lot of time, forced to sit at home. But instead of actually starting the business that they said they would do, they actually spend more time binge watching Netflix. So that taught me a pretty good lesson that integrity is the pillar for everything. And, I realized that when I noticed a lack of integrity in my own life, where I said I'm going to do something, but I didn't follow through, or I said I'm going to start it from Monday, and then comes Monday and I haven't taken any action. And it's the 28th of the month. So you're like, well, I'm just going to start from the first, right? And then the first comes in, but it's November. We're just going to start from New Year. And you keep moving the buck forward on our own goals,
Yeah.
hopes, and dreams. And that's when I realized that I was kind of full of it. I was just saying I'm going to do something. That's a lack of integrity. So then noticing and catching ourselves in life where we notice a lack of integrity and then taking corrective action.
Mm. Very true. Yeah, I know I started my business after retiring in 2018 and then having the blessings that 2019 and 2020 gave us. And I was doing I was a region advisor for Toastmasters, so I was working with people in California, and I'm in Georgia. And it was going so well, this being able to coach and train people across the country, that I thought, you know what, I should just do this as a business. And that's when I started my business. And then 3 months later, I started my podcast. So yeah, you got to just have something that's going to move you, but you gotta do it. And I do have
Absolutely.
right by my computer, I have the thing, someday is today.
Yeah, absolutely. Because how many people would have said the same thing as you, that I'm going to want to start a podcast someday or one day, and they never
Mhm.
end up doing. The fact that you did it in 3 months is awesome.
Yeah. I know that I did the done for you kind of, they built everything, they trained me, but they said, well, we can do this in 3 months. And I said, we will do this in 3 months. And he said, wow, you're the first person that actually did this in 3 months. And I was like, well, I don't have a lot of time to fool around here, life's
Yeah,
passing by. So
100%.
share your ideas on the role of mindset. And we've really kind of touched on that just now, how that plays on both your success and your failures.
Yeah, I mean that is everything. Because like in my journey, I've met so many people that work for me in my team, my employees, and even then I've learned that the ones that maybe didn't have the skill set, but they had the right attitude, they had the right mindset, they ended up becoming the best employees, even though they were not the most skilled, right? Because they had the desire, they had the confidence, they had the ability to keep persevering through, and having that mindset of always want to improve and learn and constantly getting better. And those people have stuck with me in my team for a long time. Whereas people who are super skilled, but their mindset was kind of closed off to new
Yeah.
information, they didn't make it. And that's when obviously I realized throughout my life too that I could be the best information hoarder, right? I could know everything in the world, how to do this, how to do that. But if I'm actually not going to do it, then it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And in any entrepreneur's journey or any trader or investor's journey, there's going to be setbacks. There's going to be roadblocks where an investment didn't work out as you thought that it would pan out, or maybe your business suppliers leave you, or vendors leave you, or your clients go with your competition. All that stuff's going to happen. Are you going to be the one that's going to complain, going to whine about it, or talk bad about your competition, or are you one that's going to be like, hey, what caused that client to go with my competitor? Like, what did they offer them that I couldn't give them? How could I give them that level of service so they feel confident staying with me? So I think those are the type of things that I learned, that mindset is everything. And having coached, thousands of traders now over the world, tens of thousands now, is that all of them know how to trade and invest. They know it. They know the strategy. If I ask them a question off the top of the head, they will know the right answer. But why aren't they doing it? Right?
Yeah.
Why aren't they executing on it? Or maybe they're executing on it, but their mindset is such that they get affected by fear or greed, right? Or they should be out of an investment, but they keep holding. Maybe it'll come back up again. The hope is not
Yeah.
a strategy, right? The stock will come back up. Now it's down 90% and you're still holding it.
Mhm.
You could have
Yeah.
got out of that for a smaller loss, invested it in something else. So the opportunity cost of that also exists. And that comes down to mindset, controlling your emotions,
Mhm.
controlling your greed, being objective in the moment, and not looking at your feelings and emotions, but looking at the data, looking at numbers to make your decisions. And I think that is what keeps you going, because things will get tough in your business. If you don't have the right mindset, you're going to give up on the first sign of weakness. Whereas other
Yeah.
people would persevere and think about, like Carol Dweck talks about in her book, mindset, hey, what can I do about it? What's the growth mindset?
Right.
How do we fix it? I
Right.
think those are the right questions to ask.
Yeah, so true. And mindset is something that you can change, but you have to have the mind to do it. It has to be
Exactly.
of the right frame mind.
Yeah.
So has what has helped you manage life and your productivity and being an entrepreneur? Because a lot of people like myself spent 40 years in corporate, where we had our jobs defined for us, with what we did. When we went in the morning, some days we could not be very productive. We could be sidewinded or taken off task by our boss or whomever. But when you're an entrepreneur, there's nobody here looking over your shoulder telling you what to do, when to do it, how to do it. So what has been your secret sauce, if you will, that's really helped you to really manage your personal life, your business life, be productive, and be successful as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, that's a great point, because that's exactly why most entrepreneurs and business owners don't make it, and that's precisely why even traders and investors don't make it. A lot of them in the business, because we're grown up with our parents telling us what to do. Then we go to school, our teachers tell us what to do. Then we go to college, our professors telling us what to do. Then we get a job, our supervisor or manager is telling you what to do. And if you don't do it, there's consequences, right? You could
Mm-hmm.
be fired, you could lose your job. Whereas in
Mm-hmm.
business, nobody's telling you what to do. You got to tell yourself what to do. You got to be the one seeking out the resource of what to do. And more importantly, there's no consequence. If you don't do what you said you're going to do, well, there's no boss, there's no
Yeah.
consequence. Consequences, obviously, your business is not going to work out. You're going to, be left behind in that, and your
Lose
dreams are going to
money.
fall apart. Yeah, you're going to lose money, and more importantly, the hopes and dreams are going to be trashed.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's no consequence, and that is precisely why most people never make it. So the way to stay productive is to have people around you, right? Napoleon Hill talks about in his book Think and Grow Rich, having a board of advisors. Like, you need that. Now, I'm not saying a formal board of advisors. It could just be people you touch base with, people in the same industry that you chat with, like mastermind groups that you're a part of,
Mm-hmm.
like conferences you're
Right.
going to or attending. Like, those are all resources, but you need to have that, because otherwise, especially online entrepreneurs, it's a very lonely business. You're by
Yeah.
yourself in your computer. There's nobody to chat. There's no colleagues to go out, have coffee with or something. So you got to create that. And the way I did that is, I'm a part of many different groups, mastermind groups,
Mm-hmm.
conferences I attend. I try to push myself all the time. And then I also surround myself with people that I'm uncomfortable being around. Like, I'm having,
Mm-hmm.
lunches and dinners with billionaires that I'm paying to their charities, just so I can have lunch with them, or just so I can have dinner with them, donating to their charities. But the reason I do that is because they bring me in environments that I would normally never get access to. And more importantly, I'm uncomfortable in that environment, right? I feel
Right.
like I don't belong. But I think that's where the growth really lies, because that
Mm-hmm.
stretches your thinking beyond what you already have, the paradigm. So I think
Yeah.
that is the biggest way to stay productive, is to surround yourself with high performers, because A, they rub off on you. B, they're going
Yeah.
to tell you one thing to do. But just to look at, that there's different levels to this, that, at least for me, motivates me a lot and keeps me pushing
Mm-hmm.
forward, right? When I remember still when I was, from India, I came to New York City. My business partner, successful guy, lived in Scottsdale, and he brought me, to Florida in his uncle's private jet. And right, and at that time, I was like, this is the first time ever getting on a jet. But that stretched me. I was like, wow, there's like levels to all of this stuff, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
it's the conversations you get at dinner.
Yeah.
It's also what questions are you asking them? Like, I always ask them, what's your day like? Could you walk me through your day? And I'm taking
Yeah.
notes on how they structure their day, right? And
Mm-hmm.
majority of the things come down to scheduling, having
Yeah.
a calendar. Every little task you said you're going to do, make sure it's got a time allocated to that on the calendar.
Mm. Yeah. I found in 2024 now, I was searching for a new calendar, and I didn't normally I order one, but I didn't. And I thought, well, I put everything online. And so I'm just going to try this. And I've decided this week I'm going and getting a calendar because I like to set Saturday night, Sunday night, writing out what my week's going to be like and having that piece of paper that I can look at too, in addition to my electronic stuff. Maybe old school, but that's where I find it's much more manageable to manage my business if I have it written in an old-fashioned planner.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't think it's old fashioned. You got to use whatever works for you. And that's one of the part of my books is that I write the first chapter of the book is like finding what works for you and ignoring everything else because everybody has a different way of doing things.
Yeah.
So if you find that old calendar works best, doesn't matter what people think or if it's outdated or not, it's working for you. And that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And you got to find your own learning style, the way you work best. Like for me, it's Google Calendars, having, reminder sets so I get notifications a few 10 minutes before. Having
Have
all of
to
that.
have those. I wouldn't have been here tonight if I didn't have.
Same.
But
Yeah, I
it's
think that's
true.
wonderful.
I think it is to have that, like every which way. When I used to do projects about websites, I said, you want to have people that go to your website, but you can't just have a website. You need to have social media pushing them to the website. You have to have, the different SMSs pushing to the website, but it's so for me, it's like, well, let's use as many tools as you can, electronic or not, to be able to make sure you are successful. And I tell everyone, if you are not on my calendar, you do not exist because you can't just say, oh, well, just give you a call. It's like my calendar is pretty full. I'm so sorry.
Same. I got an
Yeah.
email was it yesterday? Looking forward to chatting with you on Monday. And I looked at my calendar and I don't have that person on Monday. So then it was like, hey, when did we schedule this? But here's the link again. Please pick a time that works for you. It just keeps everybody organized. And I think sometimes we like to be nice to people where we're like, oh yeah, you could call me at this time. Now I just send everybody a link. Book whatever time works best for you. And then
I
if you book it
know.
from that link, it's going to be on my calendar and I'm going to be there 100%.
Yeah, and I love those calendar tools for being able to be productive because now you're not going back and forth. Well, how about Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday at this time? And then all those emails back and forth. No, you open my calendar thing and you can see my calendar and your calendar, and then you can pick a date that works for both of us.
Yeah.
And now I don't have to worry about looking for your email 50 times through the day.
100%.
So let's talk a little bit about your LiveTrader and the students that you work with. The first things that come to mind is what's the age limits? Because I can, in my mind, I think I know, but I'd love to know that. And then what are some of the questions that you usually regularly get from your students? And what do you respond to them? Because I'm sure they have tons of questions.
Yeah. So our clients are all over like the age bracket, but I would say majority of them are between 35 and 55. That's where majority of my clients are. But then I also have clients that are retired, they're 60, 65. But that is typically the range that we attract. We don't attract a lot of younger audience just because the first thing I tell them, hey, it's going to be the hardest thing you're ever going to do. So it's hard to attract, the younger audience that, whereas it's easier to get them with the, I guess, different marketing message. But so that's kind of the client ranges that we have. Majority of them have either had a successful business, they're retired, they're looking to do it from home, or they are looking to leave their job, maybe a successful job. They have enough money saved that they can give this venture a go and to try to make it in trading or investing. The biggest question usually people would ask is, how long is it going to take for me to make it in this business, right? And most people seem to struggle in, is this like gambling? Those are the typical questions we get. And that one's a hard one to answer because it's different for everybody. Like I have students that 6 months later, they're just crushing it, quit their job, making a living. And then there are students that have been on it for 3 years that are still trying to find their way. So that's going to be different for everybody. It's trading is like a sport, just like few people are going to pick for the NBA, but the whole country is going to play, right? But a few of them are going to get picked for the NBA. So it is I would say it's a hard learning curve. But once you get through the learning curve, which is typically about a year, then it's like the most rewarding business ever because you're literally doing it from your computer. anywhere in the world, and you don't need to be in, I don't need to be in New York. I could be somewhere else and do it from there. So I think those are the benefits of that. And as far as gambling, I mean, it's very different. Gambling is when you literally have no plan, no strategy, right? No odds. You're just taking a bet. And that's going to binary bet. You're either going to lose it all or you're going to win something. Whereas with trading, it's intelligent speculation. So what we're doing is we're looking at statistics of that particular stock or an investment, how that would have done over the last like 100 years, right? And then we're based on data picking our, the trades or investments we're going to make. And that is similar to us being the casino. So there's, I guess an element of that, but we're the casino in that way. Like just like a casino knows exactly what its 0.1% or 1% edge that they have. So for them, it doesn't matter if you go and win a big round. They know the longer you keep playing, eventually they're going to come out ahead by 1%. So with trading, that's what we try to do. We try to get our own edge. And once we have that edge, it's not about whether I win or lose on this investment. Some I'm going to win on, some I'm going to lose on, but at the end of, let's say 100 of them, here's what I'm going to be ahead. And that is what trading really is. It's all probability, statistics based. It's not how they portray it in the movies where it's like action, excitement. But good trading is actually boring trading. We're sitting in front of a computer.
I was going to say.
Yeah, half the time we're just waiting, right?
Yeah.
And when a good investment happens, it's like just click, click. That's how exciting it really is. It's not a whole lot of as they showed in the movies or TV shows.
Yeah, I know some of the folks that I have talked with it and had some training on. They have tools that kind of, these are things I'm looking for. So here's alerts, sort of like our notifications of our meetings coming up, of things that they need to pay attention to, because it is a lot of sitting in front of the computer.
Yeah, absolutely. Computer spreadsheets, that's pretty much my day.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Of course, they don't talk back to you, so that's good.
Yes.
So what advice would you give the audience to help them get a better handle on their finances if, as we saw, that you had touched on very many different things to be able to grow your portfolio. So, people might be out there that are like me, retired, or they're in business and they've done kind of well in terms of saving their money, but they want to make sure that they have a secure future. So what advice do you typically give folks to really manage their finances in a way that will give them somewhat of a softer landing whenever they do decide to not work all day anymore?
Yeah. I think everything, when it comes to personal finances, investments, you need a system. Otherwise, if you just make decisions on the fly, it's not going to work out. So everybody needs a system. Now, the first step of the system is to take an inventory of where we're currently at. Like making a map of, okay, what we're at. And that involves taking a hard look and being honest with ourselves, with our finances. So write down like all your debts, your credit cards, your whatever you have, any debt, loans, mortgages, write that down. And then another column, write down all of the assets that you have, right? Savings, portfolio, 401k, we write that down, right? And then the first goal before you start investing, I always tell people is to pay off debt. Right now, I don't mean pay off like, your house or anything. You could still work out a plan to continuously pay that over time. But if there's a high interest debt, like that has to be the first one to get paid off. Because otherwise, even if you make 10% from an investment, but you're paying 30% on a credit card, you're in the hole. So the first thing is get rid of high interest debt. And then the second thing I always tell people is to automate that. Because without automation, we're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to fall prey. We're going to forget to invest. And then are we going to start looking at our stocks every day because we don't have a plan, right? So the next step is once we have our assets and inventory, we take a look, okay, maybe I have another job, maybe I have a business, maybe I have a podcast, what's actually coming in? And then we take a percentage of what's coming in. Typically, minimum I tell people is 10%, but then higher, it's completely up to you based on your own cash flow and your own expenses. As high as you can go, as high where you're not super uncomfortable, but you also should not be super comfortable. Like a point where it's a little bit of a stretch to have X percentage go out every month. That's the sweet spot, right? Where you're a little bit uncomfortable, but not too much. And that should be automatically invested every month. So as soon as money comes into your bank account, your sales come in, percentage, let's say you pick 10%, goes out automatically, gets invested into the stock market. Right now, that investing into the stock market could be many different things. For most people, I would just say buy the market. S&P 500, NASDAQ, and don't try to pick individual stocks. If you're somebody who's learning how to do it, like at LiveTraders or learning from us to how to do it, picking your own stocks, then you could have, the big stocks is what I usually suggest, like Apple, Tesla, Amazon, Google, companies that are going to be around and they're not going anywhere. So we're not making speculative investments like GameStop or, AMC or some biotech stock that might cure cancer. We don't want to do any of that because that comes with risk. So we pick the companies that we know are going to be around, products we use, Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, and you could have a bunch of these stocks, and then you could set it up on all the brokerages automated now, where you could set it up as a basket, and then you could say, okay, withdraw $1,000 from my account every month, automatically invested equally into these stocks. So then once you've automated that process, you don't have to be the one even looking at it. You could just trust and let it go. And typically after, let's say 10 years, you're going to average about 10 to 12% per year is going to be the return. So if inflation's 5-6%, you're going to come out ahead. So that's the typical plan. That is a plan that will literally, every 10 years, let's say, or so, your money is going to start to double and triple and compound over time. That if you look at your account 10, 20 years from now, you're going to have so much money saved up that if you didn't automate it, you would never save that. Because money that is always sitting in our bank accounts will always find ways to go out of our bank account. Some expense will come up, something we'd love to buy would come up, maybe an emergency would come up. Somehow something always comes up when money's just sitting in the account. So we need to put it in investments where we're not touching it, we're not looking at it, and somewhere where we're not withdrawing from it. That is just forget about it kind of, a deal. That is the best way to take care of your financial future, is to automate that process.
Awesome. All right. So there, for the last, I don't know, 15, 20, I guess 15 years, I don't know if it's more than that, the whole crypto has been out there. I know I had invested some monies in that as well. And so what's new in the crypto market these days?
So crypto is still very early. It's like the early stages of internet, right? Where internet first came out, there was like, AOL, MSN, Yahoo, all these companies. But then eventually we've got one winner, which was Google, right? And everybody else disappeared. Same thing. There was thousands of retailers online, and then winner came out as Amazon, right? And then there was a lot of different companies, Nokia, HTC, BlackBerry, all these making phones, but then came out a winner, Apple and Samsung. So the same thing will happen with crypto. It's like the early stages of internet. There's thousands of cryptocurrencies, right? And there's going to be one or two that are going to emerge the winners in the long run. And I think we're still in the very, very early stages. So the winner, I think, next 5 years or so, we're going to find out who that's going to be. I don't think it's going to be Bitcoin, just because Bitcoin, in my opinion, is like the AOL. It was the first one. It was the one who started it all. It was a revolutionary idea. But now there's better, faster technology that's cheaper to use, less, more energy efficient. And those are going to be the eventual winners. So I only have investment in one cryptocurrency. It's called Algorand. It's formed by a Turing Award winner, MIT professor, Silvio Micali, who was also quoted in the Bitcoin white paper, the original guy who invented these zero knowledge protocols. So he started one cryptocurrency in 2019. So that's the only one that I'm invested in, just because, I've talked to several different professors, Wharton Business School, and they all agree that this is the technology-wise, this is the best one. Energy efficient, super cheap, super low cost. In fact, they're carbon negative, where blockchain stuff are carbon positive. And then they're also super low transaction fee, right? Whereas Ethereum and Bitcoin, they charge ridiculous fees.
Yeah, they do.
So they can never be used in the financial systems. And then also, if I send you something in Bitcoin, it'll take me 15, 30 minutes for you to actually truly get it. Whereas with this Algorand, it's 2.7 seconds. So
wow. Awesome.
The winner, in my opinion, is pretty clear, but the market's not going to reflect that until interest rates start to come down again.
Wow, you gave us lots and lots of information today, but it is time now for me to go ahead and share my slide. If you are thinking, I want to know more about this, and you've got to share some more of your insights. And so I'm going to share his contact information where you can reach him. As always, if you're just listening, I will read that information for you, but you can go and grab paper, pencil right now, or paper and pen, whatever you have, to get this information. Everything, though, will be on my YouTube channel, Vicki Noethling, so please subscribe, as well as my findyourleadershipconfidence.com. So the websites He has two websites. One is that LiveTraders.com. Remember, we talked about that, LiveTraders.com. You can also go to his website of Anmol.net. That's ANMOL.net. Facebook is Anmol SC, as well as LinkedIn, Anmol SC. Instagram is Delta90. That's the 90 kind of thing, but it's not spelled, it's spelled out. So Delta Ninety, Delta90. And Twitter is Delta90. And YouTube is at live.traders. So I'm going to turn it over to Anmol to talk to you about his free guide, as well as what you'll find when you go to those websites and social medias. It's all yours.
So yeah, if trading or investing is something that you're interested in, or you're looking to work on your mindset, on my website, Anmol.net, you'll be able to book a free strategy call with one of my coaches, where we can learn a bit more about you, what you're looking for, what your goals are, and guide you in the right direction. And perhaps trading investing is not right for you, and you'll learn that on that call. And if it is right for you, then we could discuss the ways we could work together. So all that information could be found on my website, Anmol.net. I'm the most active on Instagram and Twitter. My username on both of those is Delta90, DELTANINETY. Don't ask me why. I had it a long time ago and I never changed it. So we're stuck with that username now. And yeah, I think that's where you can learn a lot more about me. And my book is available on Amazon, Audible, wherever you listen to books. It's called Prepping for Success, 10 Keys for Making It in Life.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that information. And I do hope that the folks will go to your website. Again, that's Anmol.net, and check out that Instagram, Delta90. I knew there had to be some history to that. So yeah, I wonder if it was it in the 90s? I wonder. All right. So as always, thanks so much for being a great guest. Enjoyed having you. You shared a lot of wonderful tips today on several different topics that all will help you be a success in life as well as in your business. So thank you so much for that.
Thanks for having me. It was great chatting with you.
And as always, I remind everyone that life is a journey, and it's up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.